Aloha, everyone, and good evening. Hello, Mel.
Aloha, Charlie. How you doing, man?
I'm
Hope you're
doing
having a
fine.
hope you're having a good evening, man. I love it tonight. It's hot again, but it's going to get a little hotter in a little bit, man. We got a special District 14 State House of Representatives candidate forum tonight. I haven't seen any being put out. I know we have a council forum tomorrow night, but I haven't seen any for the state house. And we have 3 contested races here on Kauai: District 14, District 15, and District 16. And tonight we're going to do District 14. And District 14 is the North Shore into Wailua. And that is a contested race. Incumbent Nadine Nakamura will be challenging her opponent, which is Steve Moniz. And they both will be on tonight. And I'm excited about that. I put out the email and everyone responded in the affirmative. So we're going to have an excellent week. We'll do the District 14 tonight. And we will do District 15 on Friday night. And that is incumbent Jimmy Tokioka and challenger Steve Yoder. And then on Saturday night, we will have District 16, which is incumbent Dee Morikawa and her opponent, which is going to be Anna Modez. So it's going to be exciting next few days. Of course, tomorrow we will have our town hall Thursday, and we'll see how that goes. But for tonight, exciting night. And Charlie and I have put together over 10 questions that we have heard from everyone. We have heard from all of you viewers, and we're gonna see how many of these questions we can get through. The format will be very simple. It'll be each candidate will have 5 minutes to do an introduction, and then we'll go into the rapid fire question and answer. We'll rotate. We randomly selected tonight. Incumbent Nadine Nakamura will be answering the first question, and her opponent will answer the same question. And then we'll go from there. We'll rotate. So the second question will be answered by Steve Moniz, and that's how the night will go. We're going to give everyone 3 minutes to answer the questions, and that should get us through at least 10 of these questions. And we'll see. We'd like to keep it within an hour and a half if possible, so we can get through most of these questions. But exciting night, Charlie. I've never done one of these. I don't know if you've ever done one. I participate in a lot of forums as a candidate.
Well, I
but
did.
Never as a facilitator.
Well, I did that over at War Memorial when we had yourself and Mayor Derek Hall coming. We had gone back and forth. Same format, pretty much the same format. But I think what's going to be, and I think the viewers need to know this, we're not going to get into a debate situation if you're anticipating a debate, because we want you to actually compare the incumbents and the newcomers side by side on their responses. I think that'll be the fairest thing to do, because if we go into a debate situation, that's all they're going to be doing is arguing a point back and forth. And I think, sometimes it serves its purpose, but I think when you got somebody coming up that's new, it's sort of a little disadvantage. But I think to even the playing field, let's see what their responses are. So we're taking them side by side, and you folks can judge for yourselves what type of response to the question that they gave. Yep.
And we're going to be asking them to provide their contact information as well. So if you have questions of them, please call them, email them. We won't be able to accommodate questions from the viewers tonight because we have a list of preset questions, which we did provide the candidates. We did not want it to be a surprise, catch them kind of deal. We really want to provide the best information for you all and me, because I'm a voter, for all of us to learn as much as we can about our candidates running for State House. And a lot of our questions are geared for post-COVID. We do have some COVID questions, but remember, this is a 2-year term that's going to start in December. So a lot of our questions are geared towards post-COVID. What are their plans for us here on Kauai once COVID passes? And then we got to, rebuild. And that's so a lot of the questions will be based on that. And we'll see. Senator Kochi is on. Thank you, Senator Kochi. Senator, we was going to do a Senate forum as well, but Senator Kochi is running unopposed. So sorry. Dr.
Oh,
Miskovich as well.
another thing too, just to let the viewers know, tonight the viewing format is going to be a little different. All this time we've kept all of our guests up on the screen at the same time. But during the portion when they're handling the questions and responding to the questions, we're actually going to have it respond to the one that's doing the talking. So no longer will we remain on the screen. It'll just be the person responding. So you get a full view of what's happening, what's being said. No distractions, hopefully, that you don't get distracted. And we'll take it from there. So
we're going to bring them in a little early so we can explain the format. But right now, share this. Please share it with everyone on your page. Just hit the share button, start a watch party. Do whatever you got to do to share this. Get this in front of as many people as possible. We're also going to provide this digital file to Hoike so they can play it on the local TV as well. So without any further ado, let us bring in our candidates. And there they are. There is Steve Moniz and Nadine Nakamura. Let's make sure that they're all hooked up and with their sound. I see Nadine is connecting to audio, so she should be able to hear us very shortly. Nadine, can you hear us?
No, they still, yeah. Can you hear us, Nadine?
I can.
Oh,
okay,
perfect.
Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
We're just waiting for Steve now to get back to his chair.
So
yeah, so we'll go over the format real quick. Nadine, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I know you guys are had a really tough session, and the work doesn't end for you folks. Steve, welcome. Can you hear us?
No, he's still hooking up, connecting to audio.
Okay.
Hello, Steve. Can you hear us, Steve?
Hey, just fine. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, perfect, perfect. All right. Thank you both for joining us tonight. You guys are the two guinea pigs in Mel and Charlie's first House candidate forum. We did one for the county council. Lord have mercy, over 20 candidates. So format's going to be very simple. You guys did get the email. We're going to give you guys 5 minutes up front to basically share whatever you want to share about yourself, your campaign, whatever you want. You got 5 minutes. At 1 minute, you're going to see 1 minute remaining. You're going to get the 1 minute warning. And then right after that, you'll get the POW warning. And then we will move on. Once we get through the introductions, Nadine, you were selected randomly to go first tonight. So you'll be the first one to get the first question. You all got the questions today. We're going to randomly pick from that list. Don't think we'll have enough time to get through all the questions, but we're going to try our best. Hopefully you can stay with us for about an hour and a half. We did say 7 to 8. And we'll try to get everything done, but you want to do it as quick as possible. You'll have 3 minutes to answer each question. And then we'll go to the other candidate running. And then we'll rotate. Steve will get the second question, and you both will get the same questions to give our viewers an opportunity to compare the candidates. And that's how we're going to do it. Anybody got any questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, so we're gonna, like Charlie said, the format, the screen will go to you when you speak. And with that, our timekeeper, I want to thank our timekeeper, our Vanna White, Patsy Raposo. She's doing the she's waving over there. She doesn't know the camera is not on her, but she's going to be the timekeeper. So any disputes on time, you go call Patsy. All right. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Nadine, the clock starts now.
Well, I just want to thank you, Mel and Charlie, for inviting me to this Facebook Live event. And you know, I'm really scared about doing this because I've never done this before in this format. But I just want to thank all the viewers because, you know, this has been a really interesting 4 years serving at the state legislature. It's I've served 2 terms. This is my 2nd term, and I've learned so much about the state government. It is a huge organization with so many different departments. And I was lucky to serve on the Finance Committee. I served as Vice Chair of the Human Services and Homelessness Committee, and I serve also on the Health Committee. I was fortunate to be selected one of the majority whips. So it's been a really incredible learning opportunity. I feel that there's still so much to learn and so much to do. What I'm really proud about is the work that I've been able to do in our community. A lot of it, things happen, and on my watch, the April floods happened in 2018, and that was a huge impact for different parts of our island. So we were very successful working with the Senate in getting $100 million in flood relief funds from the state legislature. And those funds were used to help fix the roads, to deal with all of the landslides, to fix some of the parks, the county and state parks, to deal with all of the impacts and the human impacts that affected especially the North Shore of the island. So we were very, it's been a real learning curve for me. I'm really happy that we were able to try to transform Haena State Park to address the overcrowding in that area and the impact to the neighborhood. So I'm really proud about the work that we were able to do, working with the community, county, state government, and the visitor industry to put together a new paradigm on the North Shore that includes, parking tickets, passed a bill that increased the parking fines, which was way too low, was only $35, and people parked illegally all the time. So we jacked it up to $200 plus the $35. We also we were able to fund the North Shore Shuttle and get that going to get visitors out of their cars and onto the shuttle, redo the entire parking lot system, put in one of the first reservation systems for visitors, redo the whole boardwalk and entrance to the park. So that was a big thing. I've also been very focused on this whole area next to where I live, Mahilona Hospital grounds, looking at the 33 vacant acres surrounding the hospital and trying to work on a long-range master plan that can include some affordable housing, some of the needs with behavioral health on our island, and assisted living. And then I think the big issue in the Wailua Kapa'a area is the traffic. And so some of the things that we're seeing now, the roundabout at Mailihuna, the changing of the bridge, that's going on right now. In a few, later on this year, we're gonna have the additional lane in front of Cocoa Palms heading south. And then in this new CIP budget, we also have funding for one additional lane down going south to Lihui. So that's a lot of big projects to address traffic congestion in our district.
All right, Nadine, thank you very much. Steve?
All right, so let me know when I can start.
You okay? The
All right.
timekeeper says you can start right now.
Hi, my name is Steve Monis. I'm running for the District 14. My background is a senior business executive. I've been on the island for a little bit over 10 years. I've experience in startups, turnarounds, and online strategies. I have brought a blend of fresh ideas, expert execution, and revenue growth in companies in various industries. These industries include telecommunication, cosmetics, computer hardware, healthcare, transportation, advertising, marketing, and public relations. I wasn't doing consulting. I was actually hands-on, rolled up my sleeves, and I worked really hard to make sure that these companies who were on the brink of bankruptcy, turn them around. Sometimes I would have only about a month to turn a company around, go in there deep, and make the right changes and get that company back into profitability. A little bit about myself beyond that is that I am a single father of 3 young, beautiful kids. This is Hoku. He's 7. Here's Malahia. She's 6. And this is Lokai. She's going to be turning 4 next week. I am a single father. I've had my kids for a while. During quarantine, I was also a teacher for them. I had Chromebooks from King K that I've made sure that I taught them full time beyond trying to juggle the entire thing and be at home and this and that. That was kind of difficult, but I learned a lot. And I think that's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, was trying to manage all that. And at the same time, my father moved here. He's 87 years old. So he moved here right before the quarantine, and he's 87. So I was caretaking him, trying to juggle the kids, cook, clean, pretty much do everything all on my own. I handled that, I think, pretty good. I mean, it kind of got to me, you know, some days were harder than others, but I managed them. We succeeded. I'm also a business author. This is my book, Shoestring Venture, the Startup Bible. It's pretty thick. You know, this was taught at Rutgers University in 2008 for entrepreneurs. So this is me in the background. I work really hard. And the thing is, as we're moving into what we're doing is right now is we're in this Corona environment, the coronavirus environment. We're going to be looking at these fresh ideas, these businesses and everything else, and the evictions, and we need somebody that has these clear, almost clairvoyant sort of a way to execute these plans. And that's the kind of person that I am. I want to come in and I want to make and just be not only the backbone, but the front bone and the head and the brain, and try to give the confidence to get the Kauai moving forward in a respectable in a competitive way. Now, one of the things that I wanted to mention is that, you know, we're gonna have this thing with a lot of things that we have on our plate. Transportation, we have a lot of waste in our current transportation, and I know we're gonna have a lot of affordable housing. But you know what's gonna happen? We're gonna have a lot of some of these smaller resorts. They're probably gonna be going bankrupt, and then you're gonna have turn those into apartment buildings. That's probably gonna be a thing. There's a lot of things we can do. Swap meets and drive-in movie theaters. We're gonna have to help. We're gonna all have to come together as a community and start helping each other. Start posting what we can't sell in our stores. We're gonna have to start selling to each other. These are what's called, what Jack Welch had said. These are low-hanging fruit. Trying to tell small elements and try to sell within the community for each other. Trying to be the small community, the strong community. Trying to help each other, show some of the people how to put some of our products on the internet. The small, so we can pick up the stuff from the restaurants, so they can put their stuff online at affordable rates. So that's kind of it. So what you got from me today is, and in the last couple of minutes, is that I want to do a robust economy. What I want to do is I want to put these SNAP benefits that we have onto our smartphones with their help from the USDA. I want to start with a smart Kauai starting with our young, with our Kiki, and putting in these things so our kids can, when they graduate, they can get these smart computer jobs. And that's really, really what is starting from the beginning and moving, and then they're not gonna have to move out. They're gonna just stay here with these really, really work from home smart computer jobs. I'm gonna go ahead and end it there as we move forward.
Alrighty, Steve, thank you very much. Thank you. So we'll get right into the questions. Again, you all were presented a set of the questions. And as I said earlier, Nadine, we randomly selected Nadine for the first question. Nadine, we're gonna start off with the easiest question of the night. What is your position on lifting the quarantine for incoming travelers to the state of Hawaii? Are you satisfied with the current policies in place?
Thanks for that question. It's very timely. Just the other day, the governor and the mayors all we're in alignment about pushing back the date to lifting the quarantine to September, from August 1st to September 1st. And I support that. And the reason why I support that is because of the reduction in our testing supplies that are available throughout the state. The fact that we still need to build the number of contact tracers on each of the islands. And then we just this last session approved funding for thermal scans for each gate at every airport. And all of those things need to be put in place before we can really bring in the trans-Pacific arrivals. And I know this is a very difficult issue for all the businesses who are anticipating the August 1st opening. It's a really tough choice to have to make. But I think in the end, because of the limited ICU beds on our island, we have to look out for the health and safety. So I do support this. I believe we need to explore the quarantine hotels. I think we need to really look at how we can make sure that people can get tests on the mainland with the numbers that we're seeing there, that they have access, the visitors have access to those tests before they arrive.
You're muted. No.
Sorry, my neighbor is weed whacking his yard, so I gotta mute myself out. Thank you. We'll reset the clock. Patsy, we ready? Steve, what is your position on lifting the quarantine for incoming travelers to the state of Hawaii? Are you satisfied with the current policies in place?
It's one of the hardest questions I think anybody here can ever have. We have so much data, sometimes conflicting data. I think we've done a wonderful job. I think you guys have done a wonderful job. I think if I was standing in a crowd, I'd say give a hand to yourself for digging up and making sure that you guys have really done a fabulous job of keeping the community engaged and keeping everybody being supportive of being safe and the community being engaged in what's happening. As we move forward, they moved it another month, and right now what I had read as of today, they're going to start taking these coronavirus tests. These from the hospitals are going to start. They're going to start taking the results away from the CDC. They're going to start giving them directly to the Department of Health. So the administration has said they're going to take it away from the CDC. They're going to give it directly to the Department of Health. I'm not sure what that means, and I'm hoping, because the numbers that we have seen are about 85% results, and they're about a week behind. So that could be a lot of things. That could be more relative results, more timely results, and we can see how accurate the numbers are going to be. That being said, I grew up, I pretty much lead my life with social distancing. If I walk into a Safeway market or Times or Big Save or Foodland, if somebody's in the aisle, I kind of walk the other direction, and I'm always walking around to the other aisle just so I don't have to walk behind somebody. That's me practicing social distancing my entire life. If I see somebody that's going to be sick and coughing and inhaling, I'm going to go walk around into a different direction. That's just me. So if we're going to be going and we're going to be stopping next month, and maybe next month we're going to see higher numbers depending on the states, because there's more and more testing involved, and there's people are doing more and more testing, then what's going to happen next month and the following month? Because there's more and more testing involved. Well, maybe we're going to have more and more accurate numbers. So right now we're going to have to make a valid choice. Are we going to start reopening next month? At this point, let's just hope, I really hope that we're going to be together on this for next month and we can reopen, because I think we're all missing our families from abroad, and we really want to be together with our families. I know I miss my mom and my dad and everybody else, my stepdad and and my kids do too.
Okay.
That's just my name, the fact that people are going to be evicted soon.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I've got the second round of questions that I'll be issuing to both of you. We're going to start with you, Steve, first. So I'll give you this question just to let you know. It's question number 2 on the handout that's been given to you. And again, we were not going to take it in order, but I think this is something that important. And you're going to start off first, Steve. It's how do you see the state recovery of the fiscal crisis that has been created because of COVID? 1 being the tax increases, 2, employee furloughs, and 3, reduction of workforce.
Okay, well, let's look at first at the tax increases, right? I remember when they tried to increase the general excise tax here, when we wanted to do it, like it was 4.166, and then we tried to bring it up to 4.25 across the state, and we had community meetings. The community, we went around, and it's like, well, that's an extra $75 a month. We can't really afford that. That's really hard for the community and some of the people, and some of the Ohana and the Kapuna and everybody else. That's really a lot of money. So we're saying is, tax increases are never going to help for the people who don't even have jobs right now. Employee furloughs. Okay, so these are the people who are working, who've worked hard, who's been on the front lines, who are paying taxes. So you're not going to get taxes from them working, going back into the system. So you're basically taking away people that are going to be paying taxes into the system. So you're not going to be making that tax revenue. And the same thing with the reduction of workforce. So all these suggestions here, they are saying is we're going to have less staff which are going to provide less services. They're going to provide less services, which means less maintenance. I don't know if is that going to mean less firefighters, less police officers? Does that mean less lifeguards? Does that mean less of everything else going all the way around the maintenance of our parks and recreational areas? Does that mean our bathrooms on the outside are not going to be clean? Does that mean we're not going to be cleaning up we're not going to be doing all the regular things? That's a hard question. So how do we do it? Where do we look for this revenue? Well, that goes back to, do we reopen the economy, or do we look at other options of, let's see, can we have another industry, and how fast do we need to, how long can we do it? Can we start getting a loan that we can say, okay, but we're going to promise we're going to diversify, evolve our economy. We're going to evolve our economy in a way where, we just passed a state, Senate just passed a state for industrial hemp. I'm not saying ganja, I'm saying industrial hemp. Now, you talked about agriculture. We can diversify. We can bring in more technology. We can open up a lot of things that create products and start sending out, exporting our aloha. And that would bring in more of it. We got a lot of creative people here on Kauai, a lot of smart, a lot of innovative people here on Kauai, and I believe in them. I believe in our people. I believe in our community. I believe in our ohana, and I think we can do this without cutting into our services, our people that have been on the front lines.
Okay, thank you. Nadine, same question. How do you see the state's recovery of the fiscal crisis that has been created because of COVID? Tax increases, employee furloughs, and reduction of workforce.
Thanks. Yeah, Charlie, what we learned recently is that there's going to be a $2.3 billion state deficit as a result of the reduction of state revenues. So we're going to really have to look at a lot of options. I don't think tax increases make a lot of sense in this economy when people are really hurting, when businesses are, just really struggling to stay alive. And I think we need to take a hard look at the state budget. One of the things that we're going to really focus in on are some of the state vacancies. Every department has them, and if they're not filled, this last session we did remove a lot of the funding for those vacancies as one way to address the budget deficit. We're going to have to look at the issue of employee furloughs. Going to have to look at tax credits and exemptions that are, annually given out, and look at all of these options, including the reduction in programs and services to arrive at a balanced budget. And that's going to, it's going to be I think from, what we hear about the tourism industry is that in the most recent market studies is that people are very reluctant to travel. They're very concerned, and that is going to, that alone will impact how many visitors will come back to Hawaii, and it will be over time. And I think what happens on the mainland is going to have, and around the world, will have an impact on what happens here. And I think attempts to look at how we can try to do a bubble with Japan and so forth will be difficult because Hawaii is tied into the United States. So, you know, we're going to be, what happens in the mainland United States will impact Hawaii. And so because of all of these things, we're going to, I think everything is on the table. We're going to really have to make some hard decisions while trying to provide for the health and safety of our residents.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll move on to the next question. And this one again, Nadine, you will have the first to answer. The state relies heavily on tourism. What is your position on diversifying our economy as it relates to agriculture and the military? And what will you do to achieve this?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. I think, you know, I believe we have to really rethink our economy, that we can't go back to how it was before. And we need to be very strategic about it. One of the things, even within the tourism economy, I feel like we should really focus in on wellness tourism, cultural immersion tourism, and ecotourism, because I think all of these are in alignment with our community values. So if we're going to try to distinguish ourselves from other places, other destinations, that's what we ought to do. I also think, and Steve mentioned this earlier, but we passed a hemp bill this last session. And I think hemp is a really important, exciting opportunity for farmers who want high value crops that will provide, that can be turned into value added products that will really make their farming operations profitable. So, and there's a lot of opportunity for exporting these products. So I'm really excited about that. I think we need to continue to, you know, promote aquaculture, help our with our water irrigation systems, production facilities. We need to help create these processing facilities so that the farmers can add value to their products. That's what's really going to make it more profitable. So I think we also need to support ranchers because, you know, we have the opportunity to, you know, grow more local products and support it that way. And I think one thing really good that came out of this whole pandemic is this whole community supported agriculture. So there's a better connection now between the farmers and the products that we put on our table. So I really want to help promote that as well.
Thank you, Nadine. We'll reset the clock. And Steve, the state relies heavily on tourism. What is your position on diversifying our economy and as it relates to agriculture and the military, and what will you do to achieve this?
You know, Mel and Charlie, I want to tell you, thank you for providing this platform. I didn't mention this before. Yeah, I got a little bit overexcited. I like to see myself on TV, I guess. You know, we're going back to tourism. That's what the question is. We're going back to tourism. First of all, I'm all for locally bringing everything back to local. So whether everything should be coming back to us. Now I don't know what the numbers are as it relates to, you know, do we have enough revenue created on Kauai to go to pay all of our bills and have a profit, just return on investment. So I'm not sure how that is exactly, and if we're able to survive, if we turn all of our stuff around and say, okay, this is how much we're making, this is how much we all of our expenses are, this is how much profit or loss that we are as a community. That being said, yeah, this is tourism. You know, if you want to implement local taxes in addition to, yeah, people are going to be coming in here. They're not going to be coming in here in droves anymore. We always seen, you know, during the global financial crisis and when I moved here before, we always said, okay, Kauai is always going to be 6 to 9 months behind Oahu and everybody else, you know, as it relates people coming there, they start growing in tourism, then we start coming over here. It's always going to be, we're going to have this lag. And this is going to be even more, because it's not going to be, they're going to be coming over here in droves. They're going to be coming over here in maybe in little bundles, and maybe they start getting less scared. They're going to be coming over here. So whether you want to increase the taxes and add more additional taxes, that's going to scare them off even more. Any sort of capitalism, you want to decrease taxes if you want to bring people over. You want to offer more of an adventure, more of a full experience. So you want to have these sort of an immersion of experience that if you're going to be offering anybody, so something different than any other place that's going to have to offer to bring them over here. That being said, again, we have other things to offer, and we have other ways of selling our aloha and exporting our aloha. And these times, I truly believe that even with this company that just did AlohaPepper.com, you know, during this quarantine, this girl, a single mom with a daughter, created this Aloha pepper from just basic from a tree, you know. So this is the kind of spirit that I'm looking forward to. This is the kind of aloha I'm really excited to export.
Okay. Alrighty. Next question. We're going to start with you first, Steve. What is your definition of affordable housing, and what are your plans to deal with the homeless and houseless issues here on Kauai? Do you support allowing state lands to be used for affordable housing in partnership with local nonprofits?
Well, Charlie, it's like this. What I'm really scared about is the fact that within the next couple months, we might start seeing, you know, this thing called strategic default. It's what a bank used back in the global financial crisis. These things called strategic defaults is when they just defaulted on entire communities of properties. They just defaulted and turned it around, and they sold it off for pennies on the dollar. Well, my concern is that they might be doing that to maybe a resort or a small hotel or any of these things. So if you want to talk about affordable housing, we might just talk about one of these resorts going bankrupt. And maybe that we can turn those into apartments. Now, if we're going to be doing a partnership with a private public partnership on the state lands where it's beneficial, as long as we are not spending any money, as long as we're not spending any money, we're creating value, because we do need a workforce. Don't get me wrong. You can't afford to, you cannot, some people cannot afford to live where they work. And I totally understand that. I get that. It's completely reasonable. And as long as we're not paying out and they can make it work, absolutely, why not? But again, my fear is that we're probably going to have more inventory in these resorts if they start getting evicted. And that's what my concern is. You're going to have a lot of affordable homes, because these places are going to be turned into apartment complexes or even condos that people are doing. That's my biggest fear. That's honestly, that is my biggest fear and my concern, because a lot of people are going to be evicted. And that's what we should be concerned about, is trying to keep the people that we have, because I've seen the camps. I've been to Lidgate. I've heard about Anini Beach. I've gone there. You know, this is a real thing. This is scary. There's 100 people at Lidgate. Okay, so it's fearful. This is only the beginning. These people, like not just the cafe of Hemingway, but people are posting on Facebook, they're going to be evicted next month. They're 3 months behind in utilities. They're 3 months behind in rent. They have to pay it all up front next month. That's what my fear is. And we got to act upon it really fast.
Yeah, thank you. Nadine, same question. What is your definition of affordable housing? And what are your plans to deal with the homeless and houseless issues here on Kauai? Do you support allowing state lands to be used for affordable housing in partnership with local nonprofits?
Thanks, Charlie. I think that the definition of affordable is just looking at that LA self-help housing project done by Habitat for Humanity, the Kauai Habitat for Humanity, where a family of 4 can have a 3-bed, they put in a lot of their own sweat equity, a lot of weekends and in evenings. But the homes, I think they got mortgages in the amount of $240,000. That to me is affordable. And it's a great project because the county kicked in funds for infrastructure. The state put in funds for infrastructure. There's, the families put in their own hard labor. The nonprofit kicks in resources. And at the end of the day, a family, becomes a homeowner. And from day one, that property is valued at $400,000. So that to me is an example of a great project because it not only provides housing, but it builds community. And I introduced a bill this last session to try to do more self-help housing around the state of Hawaii by setting up a pot of funds that these organizations can access to start up these projects. So because of the coronavirus, the bill did not go through, but it's something that I want to continue to pursue because I really believe in self-help housing. But I also have supported in the past the funding for the rental housing revolving fund and the dwelling unit revolving fund. Both provide opportunities to develop affordable housing, rental housing, and help with infrastructure financing. So I do believe that we should use state lands as much as possible for affordable housing. That's why I have been a proponent and got some funding to do the master plan for the Mahelona hospital site. And we're still in the process of developing that site, but definitely looking at the need for assisted living, adult daycare center use, as well as affordable rentals, because at the end of the day, we need to get families off of the beaches, out of the parks and into affordable rental housing. And we have to be aggressive about this. So I think the other are opportunities to also, there's a lot of vacant retail space, and I think we should look into how, and a lot of this may not come back. So thank you.
Okay, alrighty, good. Okay, the next set of questions, we'll start off with you first, Nadine, okay? And the question is, do you support granting the counties the authority to implement local taxes and/or surcharges, such as rental car and visitor accommodation fees, to create additional revenue streams to offset the deficits caused by COVID?
Yes, I have been a proponent of giving counties more authority. I did support the GET for transportation uses. And one of the first bills I introduced at the legislature was a rental car tax that the revenues generated by the tax would stay on the island where the tax was created. So it's because of that. My bill did not pass, but it got incorporated into another bill. But that general idea was retained, and that tax is now being used to build capacity on some of our highways where that are congested. So we needed a separate pot of funds, and that pot of funds now is serving a really important need. And that pot of funds will be used to build that extension from Wailua Bridge to Hanamaulu. So I think the counties could use that authority and would support it.
Okay, very good. Okay, Steve, same question. Do you support granting the counties the authority to implement local taxes and or surcharges such as rent-a-car, visitor accommodation fees to create additional revenue streams to offset the deficits caused by COVID?
I thought I had answered this one because it goes back into the, bringing everything back to tourism. And again, if it goes back to visitor accommodation fees and the fact that when the visitors do come back, they're going to weigh, well, it's going to be cheaper to go to Oahu. And that's what they're going to look at. It's going to be cheaper to rent cars in Oahu, which it already is. It's going to be cheaper to do a whole bunch of stuff on the other islands, which already has. Now, yeah, we're going to have different revenue streams. Absolutely. Now, that's what I felt like I was talking about, is that we got to create other things. That's what I mean by a whole holistic experience for the traveler. So what you want them to do is called a value added experience. So you want to sell them like a package, a package where it has all these sorts of things, like Expedia does, kind of. When you go up there, you get a car, you get a car, you get a place, you get a taxi, or you get a shuttle, or you get a place to stay. Then you get all sorts of different experiences, whether it's a canoe ride or a hike or a helicopter ride. I had my taxi business, Pono Express, here for about 8 years. So I had a statewide transportation business. So my business, I started with a single taxi. So I understand this industry fairly well. I started with a single taxi. So this experience that we are going to be bringing them in. If you want to increase the prices, just remember, people are going to be offset by the cost. So if you want to do the revenue stream, if you want to start with something different, then you have to give them something they're going to take in, something they're going to be completely different. The experiences they're going to get on Oahu or Maui or the Big Island. They're going to have something that's completely Kauai, a Kauai experience. So something they're not going to get, whether it is ecotourism, but they're going to be a bunch of hiking, which they don't do a lot of. Now, do we want everybody to start hiking all over mountains? Do you want everybody, people already complain. This is the best time. I just want the fact that you guys want to love and enjoy Kauai for the next 45 days, go out and do the hikes, because you're not going to see the helicopters. That being said, it's about everybody being involved. If you want to do it, it's just going to deter people from coming here if you're going to add it. So we have to think of other ways of bringing in people and other ways of bringing in money. And those are some of my ideas.
Okay, thank you. Mel?
All right. Okay, Steve, we're going to start with you on this one again. TVR is a big issue throughout the state, and especially here on Kauai. Would you support state legislation that would allow the counties to revoke TVR entitlements on properties when they are sold or transferred to other owners?
What I understand is that it's a privilege to have a TVR. It costs money to have a permit. And I understand that people want their privacy when there's special areas of Kauai that you want to have the tourism. People don't want to have Airbnb next door to you, because you like to have your privacy. You want to have that. And I understand and respect that. But you also have the freedom of having your own home and what you feel like you want to do with your own home, especially the cost of living here. And that's really hard. Now, I know we also signed an Airbnb, our mayor has signed an agreement with Airbnbs to only work with Expedia, to only work with places that have a TVR. So if they want to revoke it, I think they should at least listen to the people first, have the first right of refusal from the people to see if they're able to keep it up to whatever standards that the TVR has. and not just blatantly revoke it, see if they're able to keep up the place. Just revoking it blindly without asking them, this is what you want to do. Is this why you purchased the place? Because you're just taking away from the permitting, you're taking away from the tax revenue that this place can bring in, and you're just blindly revoking it without asking the new party if they're going to meet the standards of Kauai. That's all pretty much I have to say about that.
All right, we'll reset the clock, and Nadine, you can start.
So
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read the question again. Sorry about that. Would you support legislation that would allow counties to revoke TVR entitlements when the properties are sold or transferred to someone else?
okay, let me just say that TVRs that are not in visitor destination areas have changed communities, the whole face of neighborhoods. And yes, they have provided a tax base, but it's also changed the character of many neighborhoods, and people don't know who their neighbors are. So every year since I've been in office, I have introduced a amortization or phasing out of non-conforming transient vacation rentals. And I recently worked, and every year, you try to make it better. And last year I worked with the Attorney General's office, asked for additional guidance on the need for such a bill, got some suggested language on how to really address the concerns that have been raised by all of the counties. And we submitted a really good bill. Unfortunately, it did not come out of committee, and we will continue to work on this again. But I think we have a solid bill in place. We really need to, convince others that that communities are negatively impacted, and people don't know who their neighbors are, and that this is something worthy of consideration.
Thank you. Charlie?
Okay, we're moving on, and Nadine, you will start this next question. Okay. And question is, as a representative of Hawaii's people, what are your plans to ease traffic congestion here on Hawaii? Erosion is also a concern as a lot of our highways are along the coast. Do you support the planning and development of a new Mauka highway to accommodate the increased traffic on Kauai?
Okay. Yes, thank you for that question. Traffic congestion is the #1 issue, I believe, in the Wailua Kapa'a area. And one of the good things from the pandemic has been seeing the lack of traffic congestion. And, people are staying at home. We have much fewer visitors, and it has made all the difference. But we had many projects in the works, including I mentioned earlier, the Waikapa'a High School coming down the hill at Mailihuna Road. There's going to be a new roundabout there with the, refurbished, a brand new bridge as well across Kapa'a Stream. Then the second project is the one in front of Cocoa Palms, from the bypass road to the Wailua River Bridge, where there's going to be a southbound lane fronting Cocoa Palms. So that one's going to be happening this year. And then we will be, because of the work between the House and the Senate, we were able to get funding, and the administration working very closely with Highways Division to get funding for the third phase of the project, which is from the Wailua Bridge to Hanamaulu. And that will be a southbound lane, either along the existing highway or along the Kanehau Road. But we were able to, working with Senator Kochi, get $92 million of funding that will go toward the design, planning, and construction. I believe the state share of construction. So that's a huge win for our island that will make a difference. In terms of the Mocha Highway, I'm not sure about what alignment you're looking at, but the original Wailua-Kapa'a Bypass Road, which was a Mocha alignment, was just not feasible. And that's why the Department of Transportation decided to do smaller projects. It was just going to take up too much of the state's overall budget to do that project. So I think we have a solid projects in place, funded, and some are undergoing construction and some will be starting up.
Okay, thank you. And now, Steve, your turn. As a representative of Kauai the people, what are your plans to ease traffic congestion here on Kauai? Erosion is also a concern as a lot of our highways are along the coast. Do you support the planning and development of a new Mauka highway to accommodate the increased traffic on Kauai?
You know, I actually had a conversation with former councilman Gary Hoosier about this at Starbucks, probably 7, 8 years ago. And with one of the questions, he was generous enough to give me some of his time. That's when I had the transportation business. And, you know, he said it would almost be $500 million, $400 million to do that other side. I think Maui has a similar type of thing. That's what the number he gave me back then. Now, I don't know how that would relate to today. So that's the number I had, was almost $500 billion. And, you know, if it's 400,000 8 years ago, it's probably 500,000. It could go overrun, as you know, because nothing ever is going to go as planned. We do have a power line, you know, and that's been tossed around for a long time. I don't have much about it, but I've been hearing about it since I've been here. We have this power line road that we should use it. We have access to it. We can contact Bette Midler and get her on board somehow. You know, she put the roundabout and the bypass in Kapa'a. So that could be a thing. I think we keep talking about it, but we need to instigate it and figure out and get it moving on. Because right now, even with everybody staying at home and the lower in the traffic that we do have, it's already coming back. People are already coming out. And I'm so happy that we're actually really privileged that we're able to go out and about, enjoy our beaches and walk about. And I think we're doing really great on that. But yeah, the traffic is increasing already. So maybe we should get on that. As for the erosion part, well, you know, we are putting as much as we can. We are putting the new bridges, and we're going to continue. We're going to continue to watch and maintain and grow and make sure that we have accessibility to make sure that the erosion, where we have to put sand in the right place, or we have to put extra rocks, move rocks. What I like to do is use some of that wood that we have piled up at Lidgate and give that to that energy plant in Kaloa, in that Kapahi area. All that wood that we have, use that for the energy. But as for the erosion, we're going to find some solutions and we're going to fix it. We're going to make sure that we're going to have plenty of road for everybody to travel back and forth on. But again, I go back to the power line. I think that is the solution, and we really need to go focus on it and make that happen.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Because
Yep.
My neighbor is weed whacking at 8 o'clock at night. But anyway, we're going to do the last question, and then we'll end up with 5 minutes of closing comments for each of you. Last question, and we will start with Steve. Do you support the legalization of recreational marijuana, as well as, I know legislature been talking about lowering the classification of crimes on dangerous drugs such as meth, cocaine, and heroin from misdemeanors, from felonies to misdemeanors. What is your position on that?
Well, as it comes down to the laws, decreasing lowering the possession of dangerous drugs is always going to lead to more people trying more stuff. So I don't think we should be doing that. Yeah, I mean, in this the coronavirus environment where they're letting more people out because of it, if you know, maybe is this why we're doing this? Because we don't want to have these low crimes. Well, we know what, if you increase the penalty, maybe less people will be more apt to be doing that crime, like in Singapore. You know, they punish you pretty bad if you have this, and that way you don't have that kind of a problem. Now, these are serious issues here, And if you're going to lower it, more people are going to just start doing it more. As for recreational marijuana, well, I'm very happy with the hemp. I think the medical side is good. We've seen what happened in California. I think if the people put it on the ballot, okay, you know what? I'm not against it, but if the people put it on the ballot and the people want it, then I'm even more for it. I'm not going to go out of my way and not do the bidding of the people. So if the people want it, they want to put it on the ballot and everybody agrees to put it on the ballot and that's what they want, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be supportive of it. But right now, I think we're doing really well with the medical. I think people are getting the medicine that they need and people are very comfortable with it. And I'm very happy. I think we should really focus on the agricultural side of the hemp product and start exporting, making products from the hemp and then exporting those products. I think that'll be more beneficial. Going back to the lowering of the crime, no, I don't think we should lower it. I think we should remain where it's at. And I understand. I think I understand it's because we don't want people inside of the jails because of the coronavirus. They're letting people out because of it. It's a scary thing. We don't want catching it. And I'm guessing that's probably why they have done it. But I don't want people on these drugs. I don't want the stuff around my kids. I don't want people around the beaches who are high on drugs on this kind of stuff around my kids. I think that's a no-no. It's a no-win.
Okay, Nadine, you have that same question. Do you support the legalization of recreational marijuana and lowering of the possession of dangerous drugs, examples meth, cocaine, and heroin, from a felony to a misdemeanor?
I'll start with the second question, and I would say no. I think that possession of these drugs should be a felony. I would say on the legalization of marijuana is that I would support it. And here's why. The costs of doing agriculture in the state of Hawaii is very difficult. We have high land costs. We have high labor costs. Water is not always accessible. And our transportation costs are enormous. So to make farming and agriculture successful, we need high value products. But I would do it only on the condition that it's taxed at a high rate, and that those taxes are used for education and earmarked. That's the word I was thinking about. Earmarked for education and drug treatment, especially targeted to our youth. So I think it would have to go hand in hand for me. It's not just one; it has to have the other to make it work, because we know how prevalent, how available marijuana is in our community, on our island. And it's like prohibition. We're just gonna, we might as well tax it. And I feel like we should use those taxes in a responsible way.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, thank you. Well, thank you very much. We are gonna close out with 5 minutes for each of you. And we started off with Nadine in the opening. We're gonna start with Steve for the closing. So Steve, you have 5 minutes. This is your opportunity to share with the world why they should vote for you for State House District 14.
Well, thank you very much. Again, this is an amazing opportunity in this sort of a very, very scary environment. And we don't get a lot of opportunities. We can't gather, we can't, do campaign rallies and, unless we do a protest. Why you should vote for me? Well, I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. I'm looking at the facts, and I have a lot of great ideas. And I'm the person that's going to get us out of this predicament that we're in by encouraging and making the confidence of the people to get us into all sorts of different business ideas and moving us forward. Yes, we're going to go ahead and do everything else that we already have been done. I think Nadine has been doing a great job doing what she has been doing in the position. But now we need somebody that's going to move us forward and lead us into this new frontier in the coronavirus economy. And that's me. And why do I say that? Because I got the experience in the background to do it. Yes, I've done it. I've done it with pulling up my time and my energy and pulling up my sleeves. But also want to do a couple more things. As soon as I got more and more into this campaign, as soon as I realized as I start talking to more and more people, I realized there's a lot more things going on, like the Jones Act, going in and amending the parts of the Jones Act, because you know what, the cost of exporting stuff out of here and the competition level because of the Jones Act since the 1930s is just baloney, hippy dippy baloney. We should be focusing, making Congress go ahead and say, you know what, this is not great. We can be pushing this and we can be turning around our economy just by creating products that are affordable that we can ship out and ship in through these ships. That's one. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can talk about with the Jones Act, but you know what? This is something which should really be part of the conversation. Now we have these broken promises that we've had for our Kanaka. You know, these broken promises of this land, and that they've been offered with these homes, these Hawaiian homes. And that's another thing I've learned. Well, you know what? Another great idea is to get the current properties. If there's Kanaka that are on the 28,000 waiting list who already have homes, well, they should be tax exempt. Give them these homes that they already have and make them tax exempt, just like the churches, the Planned Parenthood, and everything else that's tax exempt, and get them off that list. Just completely get them off that list and get them, and the ones who already own houses, and just get them tax exempt. When it comes down to a smart Kauai, let's start off with bringing this making our schools from the beginning. Our kids are learning about STEM. We're talking about science, technology, engineering, and math. And they're learning it in kindergarten and first grade. And then when they're in high school, they're competing in robotics. And when they're competing in robotics, they're taking code and they're programming and they're competing against it. And you know what? These are high-paying computer jobs. We just got to give them more of those resources and work with a consortium of technology companies and bring them here. Because you know what? Facebook, Google, and all these other companies, Shopify, Coinbase, et cetera, within the next 5 to 10 years, 50% of their workforce is going to be work-from-home jobs. And why can't our Ohana want to keep our family here? I mean, me at 18 years old, I'm like, I'm going to kick my kids out. Hey, go. But you know what? Some of us want to keep our kids here. And they can have these high-paying computer jobs without the gentrification. So they're gonna say, you know, Mark Zuckerberg said, you know what, we're gonna keep the salary at the rate of the median of the price of the home. So that way you don't have these, you know, people getting paid so much money, but they're gonna have good paying computer jobs. And that's something that we really need to think about. Now, moving forward, we also have these people that we have these SNAP benefits that will easily be on the USDA app, this USDA app, because I have 3 kids. So I have a hard time as a single parent. I have nobody to watch my kids and I have to go shopping. So we can put it on the app. We can get these. The only state that's not on this USDA system is Hawaii. So I can order everything on the app. I can come up, pick it up without putting on a mask, put a mask on my kids, walking inside, doing the social distancing, just pick everything up and then just get out. So these are just some of the things that I think you should consider when you're making a decision and you vote for Steve Monas. That's MONAS. You can learn more about me at stevemonas.com, STEVEMONAS.com. I appreciate you guys. You got me at over 200 likes on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Vote Steve Monas, and I love you for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much. Nadine, you got the final 5 minutes of the evening. You may begin.
Okay, thank you, Mel and Charlie, for the opportunity to do my first Zoom candidate forum. I wanted to say that this has been a really tough year for me personally, with my husband's passing last year. But I feel very supported in the work that I'm doing. I feel that I've built relationships at the legislature. I feel I've gained some trust. And I think it's, you know, I'm in a situation now where I can devote a lot of time, devote a lot of energy to finding solutions for our state and for my district. I served 4 years at the state legislature, 3 years at the county of Kauai as managing director, and then 3 years with you, Mel, on the county council. And I've learned a lot along the way. Before even entering public office, I served 20 years running my own business as a planning consultant, doing planning studies, environmental assessments, strategic plans. And I feel like a lot of this is being put to use now in my work at the state legislature. I'm excited about the work ahead as well. It's going to be a tough few years ahead as we work through the impacts of this pandemic. But I want to keep in mind that I think this is also, while it's a challenging time, it's also an opportunity to do things differently, to think differently about what we want to get back to. And it doesn't have to be the same thing that we had before the pandemic. I would like to really focus in on affordable housing around our bus stations and in Honolulu, the transit stations. I feel these are opportunities to build affordable housing where people don't need cars, that we can use transit and car sharing and bicycles to get around. I want to also focus on one of the big initiatives coming out of the legislature, which is preschool education and ensuring that all 3- and 4-year-olds have access to preschools throughout the state. So this is something, because of everything we know about brain development, this is what we need to focus on. Working closely with Senator Kochi, Representatives Tokioka and Morikawa on the distance learning initiative that we know we need to beef up. We need to make sure that all students on our island, from kindergarten to seniors in high school, have access to computers, that they can take the equipment home with them, that they will have internet access, and teachers who are trained to teach in distance learning. I think this is something we should be doing, and this is an opportunity to really put some time and effort into it. I think a lot of people are working out of their homes, and we need to promote telework. It just clears our roads. It saves a lot of people time in traffic. And I think it overall adds to a good quality of life for those who can work out of their homes. And then one of my pet projects is trying to help those families with students who want to go on to a 4-year college to get a free education through the Hawaii Promise program. And my interest is in alignment with our whole economy, that we really need to focus on the jobs where we know we have existing and future shortages. So for teachers and social workers, for engineers, for healthcare workers, and for students who want a higher education, who have a financial need, I believe we should be very strategic and to give students that education that they deserve to really to enter these fields, to contribute to our economy in this way.
Was that your timer?
I had my own timer.
Yeah, I thought it was your phone earlier, but thank you for that. Your timer and Patsy's are like almost identical. But anyway, thank you, both of you. This was, again, sorry for the issues with Zoom. I know Nadine or Steve, you guys were locked on. I told Charlie, I got to manually move it now because it wasn't picking up on the mics. Whatever it is, we're learning just like everyone else. So I just wanted to thank you both. I know what it takes to campaign. I cannot imagine what it's like in a COVID environment where you cannot be out at functions and you got to rely on social media and forums like this. So We appreciate you guys spending the time with us tonight tremendously. We will be posting this up on YouTube, so feel free to share this with your groups as well. Charlie, any thoughts?
Well, first, I'd like to say thank you very, very much to both Nadine and Steve for participating tonight. One thing that I do know that I found very advantageous is that when you are campaigning, and we've been on a lot of campaigns before, you get 20 or 30 doing those coffee hours. But with this platform, you have a tendency of reaching a larger audience. So I would invite both of you to have your friends, because this is going to be replayed, to let them know to jump on, and they can catch it on a YouTube channel with Mel Raposo, because we videotape, we upload every single one of our segments. And I think people will be able, uninterrupted, if they watch it, they can start comparing, because that's what it's all about. Us getting the information to them and the voters making the decision. So I want to thank you both. Thank you so very much.
I just
Thank you
wanna
so
thank
much
guys.
for this
And I want to thank
opportunity.
you. I want to thank you, Charlie, because you're not even in their district, but I'm in their district, so
Yes, yes.
I paid a lot of attention, even with.
Yeah, but you know, I believe in a coconut wireless. I throw them over to the district. You know, hey, you go vote. Come on, gang. Here's the representatives right now in your district, 14. Go to vote.
Again, thank you. And guys, it's too late. If you haven't registered, it's too late to vote for the primary, but it's not too late to vote for the general. I know ballots are going to be going out. If you haven't got them already, it'll be coming out shortly. Tomorrow night, we'll have Town Hall Thursday with Charlie and I, but Friday, we get District 15, Representative Tokioka and Steve Yoder, a challenger. And on Saturday, we have District 16, Representative Morikawa and Animo Dez will be on. We got commitments from everybody. Thank you all. You guys have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the night and stay safe. Be careful. We love you guys. God bless. We'll see you guys on the road. Aloha.